My name is Lindsay Farmer, and this is my horse Sevilla, and we have issues with cinchiness while saddling.
Okay, so I appreciate Lindsay bringing her horse in for this video and kind of just demonstrating a really nice example of what cinchiness is. And one thing about cinchiness is it kind of it's derived out of many different sources. I mean, it originates out of different things. Sometimes I've seen people go into their horse and they'll kick them in the belly to get them to suck up, and then they can cinch up. Because horses like Sevilla, a lot of Cinchy horses, they'll hold their breath. So you can see her ears right now, they're kind of back. She's kind of got some hesitation. She's just a little concerned. So these are the little things that we want to look at. One thing about cinchiness that a lot of people run into is they're like, okay, so yay, I've done my desensitizing and I can get my string going over there and I can desensitize my horse, but there's an area of contact related issues that horses have, like cinching, which means it doesn't involve any rhythm. It's just contact, and it doesn't go away. Tying is another form of it. And they're like, how do you desensitize your horse to more of the contact-related issues? Okay, when it's more of that pressure and it's staying on there and it's consistent, how do you work with it? Well, when you see opposition reflex, like you saw in that video, and some of you guys might have more of a severe problem with cinchiness, and some of you might have a less of a severe problem. But I'm going to break down how you can kind of morph your rhythmic pressure desensitizing into your contact-related opposition reflex related issues. Okay, so you see I've got a little bag here on the end of a stick. All right, I'm going to kind of start with this, just because one thing with JBH is we want to be creative with many of the different things that we do with our horses. And so if we can take cinching, for example, and like, oh, that's a big scary thing, or that's a very frustrating thing for her, then we're going to say, all right, well, let's really shake it up and get a little crazy here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be real polite, and I'm just going to kind of take this and go right under her belly with it and see how she's kind of responding. So one thing I never do is pat horses, because it takes away from a lot of the different things that we're going to want to do with our horses with rhythmic pressure. All right, so right now I'm just saying, oh, it's going to bother your tummy a little bit. See how you feel about the rhythmic pressure stuff. Okay, not too bad. Go up on top of her and just kind of lazy tap. It's not hitting. You don't want to hit. You just want to lazy tap and say, does this bother you? All right? How's that feel? Okay. So I'm going to start just communicating to this area of her body and say, how do you feel about your belly? Now, you might find a lot of real cinchy horses, they really don't like this, because anything underneath their belly gets them real scared, because horses are born to be claustrophobic by nature. So their horses aren't typically into this type of thing. Okay, so what I want to do is get into this zone of her body that the cinch usually stays and just kind of shake it up. She's like, boy, this is a unique, interesting thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go at her and just ask for her to kind of yield away from me and say, let's go ahead and move. So I'm going to actually tap her pretty firm. She's got a lot of wool. So it's saying, I'm asking those, there you go. So it's not that this bag is going to go away. It's just going to get lighter if she yields away. Okay, I'm going to ask her to move around. It's time to move your feet, time to move your feet, time to move your feet. Okay, again, I'm not hitting her. She's just in the way. I'm going to rub that away. Get in her business there a little bit. Be polite. You never just want to go in there and just start. This isn't you going in there and just whacking your horse's belly. That's not what you want to do. You want to go in here like this. Start saying, move out of my way. Move out of my way. Just a hindquarter yield. But you're going to put that pressure kind of right under her belly or on her hip. Say, move that hip over. Move that hip over. Move that hip over. Get that hindquarter yield. So first off, a lot of times with cinchy horses, there's not enough communication in that region of her body, all right? And so we need to say some more things in that area, okay? So now what we can do is, and we're going to get that a bit more responsive than it is. She's not very responsive in that area. So one thing that you can do too is you can take your lead rope, because it's just less bulky than your saddle at this stage in the game. You can take this over here. All right. And what I like to do is maybe always have some kind of contact to the nose so you have control over that nose, and see if you could just kind of start pulling on her here. Just say, oh, let's go ahead and see. She's saying, oh, I see her nostrils got a little flared. She's a little frustrated. She doesn't like that contact. She's saying, oh, this guy is kind of annoying. So what I'm going to do is say, I'm going to put that pressure on, and if you yield, I release. And so she says, oh, I kind of like that. Same thing again. Put that pressure on. Ah, nicely done. So what I'm going to do is put some communication into something that it doesn't really involve much communication, like cinching. Okay, stand there and hold still while I tighten this thing up around your belly. Well, that's not really what we want to do. One thing I also want you to see is I'm not really pulling her nose. I want connection to her nose, but I'm not really pulling it. All right, that's not too bad. I'm going to go to the other side. All right, same thing here. Politely, always start light. And then if you need to get firm, it's going to be kind of a tug and release. And one thing that I would be doing is if she was showing me a lot of opposition reflex right now, she's actually trying pretty hard. There it was. I'm looking for those front legs to kind of engage a little bit off of that belly rope. All right, that was pretty good. I didn't mind that. That felt nice. So then we can move out of the yielding kind of exercise towards me to where we combine two things. And this is where we'll get a little more simulating of what cinching's like. All right. Perfect. Right about there is good. Okay. And then what we do now is you can see it's just looped around her belly one time and it comes out to this, right? So then what I'll do, and you want to be kind of polite about it, and you can always take this and pull it, right? Just like this. Real important that you have the ability to do that. So when I do this, now it's going to say same thing, but it's going to tighten up evenly. Atta girl, and loosen it up. Play with her. Again, get into this region of her body where it's only negative when it comes to cinching time, and say, oh, okay, we're going to do things that aren't just negative. Let's pull, and follow. Good. And release and rub. Pull, release, and rub. Again, you're going to do these things until you start seeing the changes. For her, she's kind of going already into a lot of try because of a little bit of the creativity I've already had. She's like, whoa, this is very different than just throwing a saddle on me. Okay, same thing on this side. Now this is the side that she gets cinched up on. So she's going to have maybe some more habits on this side. We'll see. Okay, pull. Perfect. Pull. Good. And release. You see my lead rope's loose. Saying follow that feel. I know it's in a weird spot. Pull and release. Good. I'm not pulling crazy, crazy hard. It's not really crazy hard. Just enough to where it's kind of like a cinch. And say, follow me around here. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's pretty good. And rub it away. Okay, so that's pretty nice. The other thing you can start doing with your horse is if we kind of come over here, I'm going to take her to my my training stick. Right? You can use your bag and you can use your training string on the end of your rope. I use a bag just because she's quite premeditated, and with so much of her confidence based, not really fear-based cinchiness. Now, fear-based cinchiness looks a little different, and the way you handle it can be a little bit different. It's the same stuff, but maybe you take a little more time. You spend a little more time being careful and more polite, and you can't get right into stimulating her. And you might just have to wait out and wait for those changes, right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this kind of tight. I'm going to get the nose collected, all right? And I'm going to ask her to just kind of head on, move those haunches around there. Just move those haunches around there. That's pretty good. So I'm just holding this tight and then release and rub, okay? So again, if you're just having a saddle, one thing a cinch doesn't have the ability to do really easily is release, right? Same with tying. There's people that'll just tie their horse up in their stall, and that horse will just get all bloodied up on the wall and their face, and it gets really, really, it's a very negative experience. Why? Because you've taken out the source of communication, which is release, right? If we don't release on our horses, they're never going to feel right. And so you can, yes, make a horse, put them in a position where they're scared and they just have to realize they give up. Okay, trailer loading, trailers, period, right? They have to get into a cave on wheels and exist in there. They have to put a cinch around their belly, tighten it up as claustrophobics by nature, and just exist and deal with it. When they get tied up to a hitching post. There's a lot of things when you put a bit in the horse's mouth, all these things that don't go away. How do you get them to like it, right? So this is kind of how. Well, let's see if we can get it to go away when they are showing when they're showing tolerance, and they're showing that they want to be kind of team players. So this is one way of doing it, is getting to that point where we've got this going. So then at the last stage of it, you could do this with hula hoops and all sorts of stuff, and you put the hula hoop right up the back legs, and you can pull that hula hoop and see if your horse starts to give to it. So this belly area, get to a point where your horse is responsive from a communicative standpoint. So now at this point, I pulled that rope pretty tight, just about as tight as I would have it if the cinch was on her. All right, and so what we're going to do is head on over here, and we're going to play with the saddle. You can also use a bareback pad. You can use things like that too. But I'm just going to go ahead and put her saddle on here real quick. All right, have her just sniff that. Whenever I put the saddle on, I like to, as you've seen in my saddling videos, is to have her kind of check it out and be like, yeah, I'm not going to, you're a part of this game. You know, it's not just me and you exist. We're gonna play with you here. And I'm gonna come in here with kind of rhythm. See how I'm kind of wiggling the saddle here? Gonna come in here, maybe play with some straps. Just kind of go in there carelessly. Now, this is where we get to a point where I can hold her to a tier or a threshold of expectation. She has performed very well. She has shown that she can have this thing, the lead rope get tight around her belly. She can yield to it. She can do a lot of things. So I'm asking her now to, if you show me attitude, I'm going to say wipe that look off your face. Okay, because it's now inappropriate. We're not dealing with a fear-based cinchiness. We're dealing with a confidence-based cinchiness. It is annoying, right? But I'm not going to act like a nagging wife. What I am going to do is kind of just be like, yeah, let's have some fun. Let's make it a game, right? So I'm going to say, all right, let's go ahead and back up here, back up, back up, back up. Shake up your saddle. You notice that we're not doing this in the cross ties. You don't want to be doing this in the cross ties, especially when you have a cinchiness problem. Why? Because we want to have the ability to move when we need to move, right? Okay, here we go. I'm going to take off her, get her cinch ready and prepared here. Okay. Perfect. Same thing. Take a little extra time to just be like, I'm in your business. I'm not going to hurt you. All right. I say, okay, let's do this again. Last time I backed you up. Let's see this time if I can move you this way. All right. See that resistance? Okay. This is exactly what we've got with cinchiness. It's the same problem. So we want that to go away. All right. Here we go again. So we're going to probably have a new habit. Why? Because she will associate a lot of the cinch to the saddle, the feeling of it on her back, and all those things. Okay, so we're going to take this. All right, so now instead of just doing this, I want to get you to a point where she can kind of see her coming over here. So I'm going to say, oh, come this way, come this way, come this way. Good job. All right. All right, I'm going to actually bring her up again so get you a nice view for the camera so you can see how the flow of communication kind of happens. All right, same thing. The cinching is just a part of that process. So I'm going to come in here, grab that cinch, bring it up here. All right. So you see see what I did there? So I said, I just don't like that look. I don't want that look. And I haven't even done is even cinch it up, right? I only just grabbed the cinch. If I go into your belly and I'm polite, I also expect you to be polite. We don't want just responsiveness. We want respectful responses, right? So I'm going to say, okay, when I cinch this up, I'm going to be real polite with you. And I'm going to ask you to be real polite with me. So again, I'm going to say, let's go ahead and back you up, back you up. We're not just going to stand there and have you be a bored factory worker. We're going to have you be a part of this equation. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and get this going in there. Get it going in there once. So another thing you can do is, you see, I'm kind of shaking this. Shaking, 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 shaking. And when her expression changes, I release and rub. Say, good job. Nicely done. All right. So I'm going to go up and down, 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 up and down. Nicely done. So I saw her outside ear go forward. Right? She's like, huh, this guy's weird. Exactly. I want to be weird. Because if I'm weird, then I'm not the same thing that she's always had with the negative experiences with cinchiness. Right? Here we go again. I say, all right. Up and down, 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 up and down. Good job. It's kind of like that same concept I've always said is never play tug of war with horses because somebody has to lose. And that will impact the dignity of your horse if they lose. And it will definitely impact your productivity and results if you lose, right? Because your horse just won a game and realizes that they're 1,000 pounds and you're not. So what we want to help you guys all understand is we're not going to do that. What we are going to do, I don't want that. I don't want that, all right? So I'm just going to tug and release, tug and release, tug and release, tug and release, tug and release. Good. And make sure your leathers are out of the way. And let's pull her right out of there. Say, okay, good job. Now we're going to walk and take a break. Come on, come on, come on. Keep up, keep up, keep up, keep up, keep up, keep up. All right. Good. All right, same thing again. So let's go ahead and take this. Come up in here. I'm going to loosen it up completely. I'm going to tighten it up. Tighten it up, tighten it up, tighten it up. Tug, release, tug, release, tug, release, tug, release, tug, release, tug, release, tug, release. Release and rub. Atta girl. Good job. Here we go again. Loosen it up completely. See how I loosened it? All right. We're going to say, go ahead. Let's tighten, 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 tighten. That's better. Rub it away. Let's go walk. Keep up, keep up, keep up. All right. This is not a saddle fitting video. This isn't even necessarily how to saddle like a coal starter would. We have a different video for that. This is cinching. Okay. This is a problem solving video. What is the mentality you've got to have with contact-based opposition reflex, right? And how do you desensitize through it? Well, you still use rhythmic pressure. Again, release it completely. Grab the saddle, move it around a little bit. I'm going to say, you can go ahead and have an attitude. I'm never going to say, you can't have that, or start barking at her. Meow, stop doing that. No, we're not going to be that way. We're going to say, go ahead. Nicely done. That's better. Rub it away. Rub it away. Good job. Okay, same thing with this back strap now. All right, here we go. Belly strap, here we go. Same story. Don't just go in and latch it. Start light, tug, release, tug, release, tug, release. Say, watch your attitude because I'm not going to have an attitude with you. I'm not going to go in there and be like, oh, she's going to be a jerk about this, so I'm going to just get ready. No, we're going to be like, oh, okay. I'm going to be nice. Are you going to be nice? Good. Completely loose, completely full, firm. Tug, 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 tug. Good. Release. Tug, release. All right. This is how we do it politely. And then when you're cinching up your horse without cinching this, keep this mentality in your brain. Remember when you go into your horse's stall and you get to put that halter on? You're going into their space. You're going into their situation. And they didn't choose that. You know, she's not choosing this. She doesn't choose the stall. She doesn't choose that silly blanket she's got to be putting on in the wintertime. She doesn't choose these things, this domesticated lifestyle. So we've got to be very respectful of their dignity and where they're at in their life. And so when I go in there and ever saddle my horses, I'm very, very serious about not catching any hair in this cinch, about pinching that skin, about just slamming this up because you're a workhorse and you work for me. No. We play together, right? So this is very, very important. So I'm going to loosen this up again. Say, let's practice this cinch again. How does this feel? Good job. Rub it away. We're not just going to make the wrong thing difficult. We're going to also make the right thing easy. Here again. Perfect. Good. Let me put this on here again. Yeah, see that? That's a good expression. All right. What she is concerned. She's checking in. She has the room to do that. What she can't do is go in with those ears pinned, with those nostrils flared, and act all frustrated and angry. Okay, same thing here. Just because I'm starting the third loop doesn't mean anything. I'm going to tug and release, tug and release, tug and release, tug and release. I'm going to even say in the middle of this, say, come over here. Good, awesome, nicely done. Now go this way. Go this way. Please go over there. Good job. Nicely done. Incorporate communication into the areas that you're not communicating, like cinching up and saddling up. Perfect. Good. Now, what I want Lindsay to do is come over here, if you can. She's in the audio. And I want you to tell me if my cinch is tight. Okay? So people at home, go ahead and try to put your fingers back there. See that? That's real tight, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. You saw that process. You know, her ears were kind of forward. She was a little more polite through that process, but we took the time it takes where she realizes, oh, saddling is all going to be a weird, crazy conversation, not just this one thing I thought I'd do real quick that I hate, right? Perfect. Awesome. So, Lindsay, what I'm going to have you do is, I'll keep the saddle on, okay, but I want you to tighten her up. And I want you to just practice this technique, okay? And I want everything to be, essentially, it's just, is this okay? Watch that out, watch that attitude. And see, I'm kind of tugging, and this is actually pretty tight. This is about as tight as your saddle will be. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I keep release, tug and release, tug and release. And then you'll eventually settle. Same thing with this conversation. Okay, let's go ahead and have you just practice that a little bit. Go ahead and walk around a second if you'd like to. Just maybe like a couple steps one way or the other, break it up. Okay. And I want you to practice I'm going to be polite with you, but I ask you to be polite with me. Good job. Go ahead and give her a nice rub. Say, good job. We're going to do this thing together. Good. Good. And go ahead and start cinching it up. And let's see how our expression looks. All right. Just be prepared to loosen it up if she gives you a good result, which is not responding enough with opposition reflex. There. That's looking better. You see how she's careful because you're being careful? Yeah. Yeah? That's nice. Good, good. So again, this game doesn't change with the origin of the problem. If your horse is terrified of the cinch or frustrated with the cinch. Those are two different things. It just, one takes longer. You need to do the same thing for a longer period of time. Atta girl, that looks perfect. Good robber, so smart. Good, and let's go ahead and cinch it up and then practice the back cinch. There you go. So this is going to take a little time with her because, you know, this is years collectively for Sevia being just cinched up and going. And so this is something that took a lot of time to develop. And just in one session, we're already getting to a point where she's starting to say, oh, okay, Lindsay here is demonstrating how much she cares. about me, so I'm gonna definitely work a little harder to care about Lindsay here. There we go, same thing. So you're gonna watch her expression, and you're gonna play with that a little bit. Uh-oh, uh-oh. So what you'll do there, and that's what we wanna practice, is nah, nah, nah. Because you can see, you didn't even get this tight yet. And she was like that, right? Yeah. So she's not allowed to do that, right? You're not hurting her, so she shouldn't act that way. So what you'll do is a little bit, like almost like a karate chop. And it might not even hit her, she might get out of the way, but like, oh, don't do that, okay? And just kind of go like towards her nose. And say, wipe that look off your face. You can't have that look on your face. When I'm being polite, you've got to be polite. You'd be very, very impolite to karate chop towards her nose. Not necessarily hitting her. She's running into it with her attitude. Perfect. There's a lot of people that go up there and rudely cinch up their horse and wonder why their horse is rude. But we want to be, that looks great. Awesome. All right? So take the time now. Every time you cinch up, play this game. Okay? You don't necessarily have to go through all those steps. But make sure that you, as a rule, say, your dignity matters, Sevilla. I'm going to demonstrate that by taking a little extra time to cinch you up.